Hello everyone, this is Greyshot117 here to give you a review, or at least my thoughts, first impressions, on the new modded commanders. I mean, you can download them now via mod, test them out, but these commanders should be coming out, and maybe more. I think there's more into it coming out, but I could be very wrong. But anyway, we have at least 5 right now for us to go over. My cat's super excited. She is clawing at my desk, so usually that means that I should continue. First up, we have the USF with Urban Assaults. Okay, so this is both a change in some abilities as well as with new commanders. So just to preface that, as you can see here, like the off-map smoke, dozer blades, rangers, calliope, and Echelon are all in this doctrine, but the smoke is a little less costly, so the rangers and the calliope, so you can deploy them quicker. And again, interesting. Again, that they would make those changes. A lot of them, that's fine. Rangers, less costly, pretty good. Calliope, less costly, really good. I like the Calliope. I think it's a really good rocket. Although I do remember the heyday where my friend Ari literally fired, how many of those? I want to say it was like 7 Calliopes at a King Tiger and killed it instantly. It was shocking, but incredible at the same time. And then she moved on to priests, and oh boy, that was even worse. But in any case, let's get to this doctrine. This is meant for like urban city combat. Okay, that's what they're trying to, at least I think. But in those type of environments, Company of Heroes 2, you usually want to have flamethrowers. They don't have flamethrowers. They said, no, we're getting rid of flamethrowers. They will have a rifle grenade. Okay, so what? It just fires automatically with rear echelons? Here's my problem. I don't think it's going to be ability used all that much, and I don't think it's going to be that effective. If it's guys in buildings, we already saw rifle grenades don't do that much. At least if this is the same strength level as the Vermont one, it'll do a bit of damage, but it's not going to insta-kill or really hamper a unit's ability inside a building. It's more, I see this as more like cover, where there's a guy in cover and you fire the rifle grenade and knock him out. But again, also removes the minesweepers. It does cost quite a bit, so I'm assuming this is an ability to just keep firing. It's kind of like one of those movie subscriptions where instead of doing one movie a month, you pay more, but you have access to unlimited movies per month, even though you may not use them for the entirety. It's that risk-reward scenario of, hey, I'm paying more money to see more. Hopefully, this works out. I think it's going to not be that effective as well, because if this was supposed to be anti-building, I'd rather have the flamethrower. That's just me. I would rather have the flamethrower. Dozer blades, great. Again, increased survivability. Sure, we'll see how it goes. Off-map smoke is great for getting through cover. Rangers are great as well for just plowing through with Thompsons or upgrading them with bazookas. See how many you can put on there. And the Calliope is great for anti-infantry blobs, or just fortifications. All these, except for the flank, I think the rear echelon rifle grenade, I'm hesitant. I want to see it in action. And you can't play it via mod, so again. But I don't know. I am of the mindset that this could be something that it sounds cool on paper, no one uses. And overall, this this doctrine, I think is okay. I think the biggest issue for me is also the dozer blades. Fine, you can increase Sherman's durability. That does make a little bit more sense. Make sure Sherman's can live a little bit longer, but I don't know. I'm just of mixed. I think overall this doctrine could be great if you give flamethrowers. But again, it all depends on how powerful these rifle grenades are. If they're incredibly powerful, great. If they suck, that could possibly ruin this whole doctrine, in my opinion. Because you could get like Rangers in a better doctrine with a better heavy tank. You can get Calliope with better infantry upgrades, etc. Actually, I'm thinking about it. A lot of these off smoke and Rangers you can get in the what's it called? The cavalry commander. So just something to keep in mind. British Lend-Lease. Okay, this one is probably, I'm gonna be upfront, my least favorite, and let me explain why. You get assault sections, so essentially British forces that are meant for closing the gap and doing a lot of damage. Great, fantastic. Okay, they needed something of those lines. I know Royal Engineers kind of play part, and Commandos can. Commandos are though so expensive, and you get them so much later. This is just out of the gate, kind of deployed. All right, or at least quicker out of the gate and less costly than Commandos. So we'll see how this goes. Anyway, so that's good. Then we have the Mortar Team. Alright, so essentially you're just giving them an American mortar team and American half-track. Okay, the British have the artillery in their base, and they also have the mortar pit, but if we don't have those, we want a mobile mortar, there's that. Fine. The M3 half-track, good. I'm assuming it has the AA upgrade. If it doesn't, then it just moves troops. Universal Carrier does that. Bofor does that. Okay. Smoke rate operations. Again, deploy smoke, rush on through. And then the M10. Oh god, the M10. Why the M10? I hate the M10 so much. But it's better for running over infantry than it is for killing armor. I still fully believe that. Yes, it has better penetrating power to a Panther. And I feel like that's why a lot of people are like, well, isn't it better? I think a Jackson overall would probably be more suited. But if you're in a pinch, low on fuel, it can do fine if you keep it alive. But like I said, I'd rather have a Jackson. And that's what I feel about this. I would rather have, especially in the British, a Firefly. I would rather have just base artillery. I'd rather have a Bofor. The best thing about this is the assault sections, but I can't say that is going to like change my mind about this whole doctrine. One ability. And even that's just better infantry. And like I said, it's platoon command post. So you get them early, but not that early. So there won't be an awesome assault NGs versus assault sections. That's just not going to happen. So all right, let's move on from that, because I think this is the most disappointing. Like I said, it feels a hodgepodge of things that, sure, in like maybe people have been asking for this to fill it out, but I feel like this is gonna be very particular in the middle portion of the game, and then as soon as the enemy starts getting some bigger stuff, all this stuff is kind of gonna fall flat. Maybe the assault section will be fine, and maybe the M10s. But yeah, that's my thought process. This is not gonna be great early game, not gonna be great late game. Whereas like this one, I could see it being good at all ranges, because again, the Ranger is very good infantry, Calliope very good for a later game, for again rockets. Survivability with Dozer Blades helps out later game, and then early game with the Echelon. If this is good, I could see it being well. It's also the off-map smoke, great for cutting through enemy MG lines. So that's that. Soviet Airborne. Okay, so this one, I know this is very similar to another one where it's kind of like the what is it called? The forward base, forward headquarters, like that doctrine, and it does do that. You have the Airborne rally point, which is essentially kind of very similar to it, except you can call down additional airdrops to it. Also, you can call down like additional weapons. You can call down, you get additional infantry. You get an MG that will come down from the sky to help you out. I mean, like, you have to recruit it, but oh my god, I could see a lot of people really liking this doctrine. And then you get a strafe that is good against vehicles. So it has the anti-infantry, has the anti-armor, has the forward operating base, has a lot of really good things, which is why I think it's good at all types and all portions of the game. The only thing I'll say is you're susceptible again to a forward base, but everyone knows that. As long as you hide this thing well, or position it well, pick the right, area, I think you're fine. So overall, I really like this. I really want to try, because this would be for a more aggressive Soviet player, and I feel like this is a niche that has not been filled. Whereas this one, the British Lend-Lease, is kind of just like a middle team. It's like, great, if you really want to focus on that mid game, great, but otherwise, I feel like this kind of be disappointing. And this one, Urban Assault, I feel like it's a mixture between two very good USF commanders into this kind of okay commander. But we'll see how it's implemented. I think this one has a better shot being good than, well, the British Lend-Lease. The Wehrmacht Strategic Reserve, sorry. They're buffing Assault Grenadiers. Okay, makes sense. Again, wasn't necessarily the best, and I feel like overall, you could probably combat them, and they should be at least more viable with an extra man, a little better guns, etc. Then also, just change it a little bit, the MP40 is also getting a boost, so that also affects the Assault Officer and the Volk squads with those MP40 upgrades. That's nice, because the MP40s, I never saw a huge increase in fire and damage. But again, that's me. It could be very different for you if that's the case. Moving on, we have Radio Intercept. This in my opinion, is probably one of the biggest things that can happen. Because, once again, it's an ability to identify allied units. You can identify allied strategies. That's kind of big because, although, once again, German intelligence, they did pick up allied plans now and again, but most of the time it was the allies listening in on the Germans, or the USF, or the allies listening on the Japs, not really the other way around. But sometimes Germany had some good, counter encryption stuff, but there's also a reason why you don't really hear about a lot of German spies in Britain. Look that up. Any case, breakthrough equipment. Okay. So this could be good because it affects 2 units. It helps Pioneers be better at their base objectives, at healing and, cover and whatnot. And it helps the Panzer Grenadiers blow up enemy issues. So like tank traps, fortifications of the British, etc. Heck, you can even use it against the Airborne forward base or something like that, where you can destroy that forward base if you need to. So it's a good counter to stuff like that. Now, I just literally criticized Lend-Lease for having units that are from another faction. And I should be saying that here with this Panzer IV-H, which essentially is it's pretty much like a copy of the OKW Panzer IV, just with those base upgrades. Here's the reason why I'm not going to complain. Because in this scenario, this unit will probably be more front-facing than a half-track. A half-track isn't going to win the game by charging the enemy base. The Panzer IV might. Now, again, you could also say, oh, won't the half-track be able to have men inside so they could fire? True, but that's more of a niche strategy. And I've seen it work. I've seen bazooka teams in half-tracks work by charm, but remember, bazooka teams, Piat teams. Very big difference between the two. And the Panzer IV, if this is the upgraded one, and if done correctly, this could be just like a T-30-45, where it just has enough firepower and whatnot, where it could definitely just give it that edge against Sherman and stuff like that it just needs. There's just one extra step to keep it above. And the Tiger Ace, oh, thank the Lord, they are fixing the Tiger Ace. I cannot tell you how frustrating it is to have a Tiger Ace and to watch it as it drains your manpower and destroys your fuel income. It is upsetting to the umpteenth degree, but now they're getting rid of that. They're getting rid of the one call-in, so if it dies, you can call in more. They're getting rid of all of that, and they're just saying, look, you get a Tiger, it can be boosted, has a bunch of special abilities, it's really good. It costs a little bit more than a normal Tiger, but that's what we're going to do. And I say thank you. Thank you. Because the Tiger itself would literally be like, you use it, and if you don't either kill it, it's going to kill you. And if the game doesn't end like within a couple minutes of it deploying, it's going to suck you dry of resources. So I am thankful they're changing it, and I am thankful that it's actually going with this doctrine. I can see it being very good. Like, again, I can see this doctrine being very good for armor play. Because you get rid of fortifications, you can really push with armor, you can identify what the enemy is doing so you can anticipate that stuff. It could be very, very good, and I'm very happy to see all that. Any case, moving on, last but not least, OKW Grand Offensive. This one I'm okay about. Panzer Fusiliers, you can upgrade them with the Panzer Shreks, and again, there'll be 5-man squads, or G43s, and there'll be 6-man squads. They get the AT grenade with the G43s. They get a Teller mine without AT grenades with the Panzer Shrek upgrade. Both can be very good. You get also the MP40s with the Volk squads. You can kind of have close range, long range. Tactical movement for faster infantry. Stuka smoke drop, which is, I'm assuming, similar to the artillery smoke drop. Great. Fantastic. But again, this is very, very focused on breaking enemy lines through like MGs and such, and that can work. I think that's a really good idea because, again, allied MGs can be a pain to deal with, but could be good. This could be very good. Now you get the OKW Tiger, and this is where I'm like iffy, because you have to get up to Vet 4, which I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't see a lot of vetted units, of especially armored units, past 3, let alone 4 and 5. It's a rarity. Like, I was amazed I saw a Storm Tiger Vet 5. So to see, like, these abilities have to be unlocked at 4, I'm so curious if we will actually see them. So that's why I'm like, do you risk trying to upgrade this Tiger to this command point, or you just stick with a king tiger and just deal with that. That's the only thing, because with like breakthrough, which is very similar to with its abilities, like to capture points, additional infantry upgrades, etc., I just find it very questionable how effective this tiger is going to be. And again, especially if you're going to decrease its accuracy, even if you give it more firepower or like quicker reload, I'm very curious to see how this goes. So that's my thought process. Overall, I would have to say OKW is okay. Really good infantry play. I'm curious about the tiger, but that's an okay. Vermach, I love. I really like this loadout. I really like the Soviet loadout. Again, very different tools, but I think both work. For a forward base, okay, Soviet don't have, and I think for the Vermach, having an additional, like, kind of what this reminds me of is like the armored doctrine. I think it's armored assault doctrine of the Soviets, kind of like that, except it doesn't have a call-in. But still, I think this could be very good in its own right if used properly, and I think this would. Again, I feel like this is a really good chance. Though, absolute favorite by far, Soviet Airborne. I think this is by far the best thing they've done. At least differential to how the game is played. Giving the Soviets this option is very nice. Moving on, the British Lend-Lease. I think this is just bad. In my opinion, again, if you like this, great. But I see so many different alternatives that the British already have that I don't want to use any of these, almost. Especially you. No one likes you. And moving on, the USF, I think this is okay. I think it's going to be curious to see how these are used in tandem. And then also, the big question of whether this goes from okay to good is these rare echelon and rifle grenades. I want to see how they're implemented and how they're used. That's the big thing. But in any case, guys, that's game. I want to thank you guys for kind of going over this patch. Let me know what you guys think about these commanders. Again, they're available right now via mod. They are they can possibly change in the future, so if you don't like them, they can be changed. If you like them, then let them know so they don't get changed. But overall, I find it more positive than negative, so they're in the right direction. I just think a couple corrections here and there, or just show me how it does, and it could be good. It could be very good. But in any case, thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Hello everyone, this is Greyshot. Before I go, I want to give a special shout out to Patreon supporters Ace, Joe Foley, Joey G, JP Vaal, jrchicklis, Manuel Marcatelli, Milam, Ollie, Chris Bailey, Onlyplayapples, Pyroshark, Rifle, Sebastian Marzalik, sgtMcPain, Streakingwookie, Tucson, WhiteHotD, Aaron Yee, Jordan Savat, Leo Liu, Nathan, Angus, and Tim. Thank you again for your incredible support. You all rocked. It's been Greyshot17, and I'll see you all next time.